I always thought that campfire stories were just fairy tales, but then, that night in Arizona, I saw something that changed me forever. Let me start by saying this: if you ever find a camping spot online that no one else seems to know about, just don't go. Last October, my friends and I, Jenna, Chris, Ashley, and me, Mark, decided to go on a weekend camping trip before the cold really hit. We're all in our 20s, live in Phoenix, and usually stick to popular hiking trails or state parks, but this time, Chris had found something different. It was a post on some backcountry camping forum, one of those sites with a black background and neon green text, like it hadn't been updated since 2002. The title of the post was simple: Dunmore Ghost Camp. If you know, you know. No comments, just a few blurry photos of decaying wooden cabins in the middle of nowhere, with coordinates at the bottom. Chris, being the thrill seeker he is, was immediately hooked. Jenna, always the one into true crime and paranormal podcasts, was way too excited. Ashley just shrugged and said it would make for cool drone footage. And me, I had a bad feeling from the second I saw that post. But I didn't want to be that guy, so I said nothing, and now I wish I had. The next Friday, we packed our gear and headed out. According to the GPS, Dunmore was about 4 hours north, past the edge of Prescott National Forest, up into the remote hills where the paved roads turned to dirt, and the dirt turned to dust. And then, there was nothing. No phone signal, no other cars, just old logging roads and empty forest. Eventually, we reached the coordinates, and yeah, there was something there. Not a campground, not even a real clearing, just the remains of a few cabins, long since rotted away, and a rusted-out sign nailed to a tree that said, Dunmore Est, 1893, population, 48. Except, the weird part, there was no town called Dunmore on any map, not Google, not physical atlases, not even the local history sites Jenna searched later. It was like the place never officially existed. But we set up camp anyway, right there between the cabins. We built a fire, set up our tents, cracked open some beers, and tried to enjoy the silence. That was the first night. That was the last night I felt safe. The weird stuff started small. First, there were the sounds, faint at first, branches snapping, whispering, distant footsteps when no one was walking. Jenna thought it was wildlife. Chris laughed and said it was probably raccoons or a fox. But Ashley, she just looked around nervously, clutching her camera like it was a crucifix. The next day, we explored the area. There was a well, long dried out, a few collapsed shacks, and a building that looked like it might have once been a general store, its sign barely legible, paint peeled off like sunburned skin. Inside the store, Ashley found something strange: a notebook, handwritten, pages weather-worn, but still readable. They said not to go out after dark, but the lights keep showing up in the trees, and when the lights come, someone always goes missing. We laughed it off at first, obviously someone's idea of a prank, but still. Jenna looked pale. I tried to stay calm. We told ourselves it was just old stories. That night, we built a bigger fire. We stayed up late, told ghost stories, tried to drown out the unease with alcohol and laughter. But around 2:30 a.m., something happened. The fire flickered like it was being choked, not by wind, but like the air itself had thickened. Then Chris stood up, eyes wide. Do you guys see that? In the trees, maybe 20, 30 feet away, was a light, like a lantern, flickering, moving slowly between the branches. We froze. There's someone out there, I whispered. Who the hell would be here at this hour? Jenna hissed. Ashley raised her camera and zoomed in. The screen glitched, static, and when the image cleared, the light was gone. Just gone. This story seems to be getting scarier, doesn't it? If you want more stories like this, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. This helps create even more scary for you. We didn't sleep much that night. After the light vanished, we took turns keeping watch. Not that it helped. Every time I closed my eyes, I kept thinking about what I saw or what I thought I saw in the trees. The morning felt off. The fire pit was still smoldering, though none of us had added wood for hours. My watch said 7:12 a.m., but the sky still looked like pre-dawn, and we were all exhausted, not just tired, but bone-deep weary, like we hadn't slept in days. Ashley was especially out of it. She hadn't said a word since sunrise, just quietly scrolled through her camera footage. Over and over, I caught a glimpse of the screen, a still frame from the night before, timestamped 2:34 a.m. There, in the distance, was the light. But next to it, barely visible, almost a shadow, was a figure, a tall man, wearing something like a miner's helmet. His face was blurred, not pixelated, not out of focus, blurred, like the camera was trying to forget it. I asked Ashley if I could see more, but she just shook her head. Nothing's on here, it's just noise. Later, when we tried to leave, the GPS wouldn't load. No service, no signal, nothing. That wasn't unusual out there, but the weird part? The roads were gone, literally. The dirt path we came in on, it ended abruptly, just trees and dry brush, like the forest had healed itself overnight. Chris thought we had taken a wrong turn on the way in, said we just needed to hike until we found an opening. So we left the tents, packed light, and started walking. About 20 minutes into the hike, we stumbled across something we hadn't seen before, a cave entrance, boarded up with rotted planks. Next to it was a faded sign that read, Dunmore Mine, closed by order of the state, 1954. Wasn't this supposed to be on the other side of the hill? Jenna asked. It was, I said. We circled the mine entrance. The boards looked fragile, like a good kick could take them down. Of course, Chris had to check it out, said it would be the perfect video for TikTok. Ashley stayed back, filming. Jenna begged him not to go inside. Chris grinned and slipped through a gap in the boards. 2 minutes, I'll be right back. Those 2 minutes stretched into 5, then 10, then 20. Jenna screamed his name. Ashley pounded on the wood. I tried calling into the mine, but there was no echo, no sound at all, like the cave was swallowing everything whole. Finally, we heard something. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, coming closer. Chris appeared in the entrance, pale, trembling, clothes covered in dirt and something dark. His eyes didn't focus at first. He just kept mumbling. He's still down there. He's still working. He never left. We tried to shake him, wake him up, but he collapsed, out cold. When he finally came to, back at camp, he had no memory of the mine, nothing after walking inside. He thought we were joking. Are you serious? I was gone like 2 minutes. Ashley showed him the footage. There was none. Her camera had recorded everything before, but as soon as Chris entered the mine, it cut out, jumped ahead to a still frame of him walking out. 10 minutes later, looking dazed, she tried to rewind, reopen the file. It froze her phone. The battery dropped from 87% to 3% in seconds. Chris laughed it off, said we were messing with him, but he looked shaken. He couldn't stop scratching his arms, like something was crawling under his skin. That night, we heard the voices again, closer this time. Whispers, in the wind, in the trees, in our ears. I swear to God, I heard someone say my name. Around 2:45 a.m., I woke up to someone unzipping my tent. At first, I thought it was Jenna or Ashley, but when I sat up, no one was there. Just cold air, and footprints, bare, human footprints leading into the forest, but only one set, going out, none coming back. I followed them for maybe 30 feet before they just stopped, vanished, like the person had disappeared mid-step. I turned to head back and saw something that froze me to the spot. Jenna, standing about 10 feet away, staring at me, eyes wide, lips moving but no sound. I whispered her name. She didn't blink, just turned around and walked into the woods. I shouted Jenna's name over and over, but the forest swallowed my voice. There was no echo, no response, just trees, too many, too close, and a silence that felt wrong. Not natural silence, but like the whole world was holding its breath. I ran after her, tripped over roots, tore my jeans, but no matter how far I went, I didn't catch up. It was like she was always just ahead, just out of reach. And then suddenly, she was gone. No sound, no trail, no movement, just gone. I stood there, alone, heart hammering, until a voice behind me whispered, "You should have stayed by the fire." I turned, no one. I sprinted back to camp. Ashley was there, pacing in circles. Her eyes were glassy, like she hadn't blinked in minutes. Chris was sitting with his back to the fire, facing the woods, rocking, whispering something under his breath. "Ashley, where's Jenna?" I gasped. She looked at me like I'd just spoken another language. "Who?" "Jenna," I said louder. "Where is she?" Ashley's lips parted slowly. "Who's Jenna?" I stared at her. "Our friend. She came with us. You drove with her." But Ashley just shook her head. "No, it was just you, me, and Chris. There was no one else." I turned to Chris. "You remember Jenna, right?" He didn't even look at me, just muttered, "He's still digging. He never stopped digging. He's not done yet." I backed away from both of them. My heart was pounding in a way that didn't feel physical. It felt deeper, like something was watching me through their eyes. I ran to Jenna's tent. It was still there, her sleeping bag, her boots, her half-eaten protein bar, but no backpack, no phone, no trace. And worse, no photos. Every group pic we took, gone. On my phone, she wasn't in any of them, like she'd never been there at all. Except, I remembered her laugh. I remembered her voice reading from that notebook. I remembered her hands holding the flashlight. I remembered. But the world didn't. I decided we had to leave. Now. I told Ashley to grab her stuff, told Chris we needed to hike until we found anything. Neither of them argued. That scared me more than anything. We walked for hours. But the forest had changed. The sun never rose higher than the tree line. The light stayed dim, like it was always just before dusk. The trees looked repeated, like copy-pasted patterns in a video game. And every path we took looped back to camp. Every single time. Once, we even tried walking in a straight line using the compass on my watch, heading due east. We walked for 45 minutes. Then we stepped back into our own clearing. The fire was still burning. Chris started laughing. It wasn't a good laugh. "I get it," he said. "It's a trap. This whole place, just like the mine, just like the town. It never let them leave. It won't let us, either." Ashley was shaking. "There's something here," she whispered. "Something under us. It's not the town. It's beneath the town." That night was the worst. It started with the fog. Thick, choking fog that rolled in fast and low, like dry ice at a concert. We couldn't see more than a few feet. The trees disappeared. The sky turned a sickly yellow-green, like something was rotting above the clouds. Chris vanished first. 1 second he was by the fire. The next, gone. No sound, no movement. Just an indentation in the grass, like something had pressed down hard where he'd been sitting. Ashley started sobbing. I grabbed her wrist, dragged her toward the tents, but the fog was pulling at her, literally pulling, like fingers. We fought our way into my tent and zipped it shut. Inside, the temperature dropped. I could see my breath. The lantern flickered violently. And then came the scratching. It started at the base of the tent, slow, rhythmic, like someone dragging a nail across nylon. Then came the voice. Not loud, not angry, just wrong. It came from all sides of the tent at once. "You came to our home. You woke us up. Now we'll sleep inside you," Ashley screamed. I held the lantern up, and that's when I saw it. The shape pressing against the tent fabric. A face, but not a face. No eyes, no mouth, just skin, pressing, stretching, breathing. I slashed the tent open with my pocket knife and pulled Ashley through. The fog was thicker than ever, but something moved in it. Tall, thin, walking sideways, like it didn't have bones. It turned toward us, and even though it had no face, I knew it was looking at me. We ran. We didn't stop. Branches whipped our faces, rocks tore our shoes. I didn't care, I just ran until my lungs felt like they were on fire. Eventually, the fog thinned, and we were alone again, just me and Ashley. But when I turned to look at her, it wasn't Ashley. She was standing beside me, same hoodie, same backpack, same scratches on her arms from the woods. But her eyes, they were too wide, too still. And when I whispered her name, Ashley, she smiled. Only, Ashley never smiled like that. Not without showing teeth, not that kind of smile. This one was slow, deliberate, like she was learning how. Where did you go? I asked, my throat dry. I never left, she said. Her voice was wrong, like two people speaking at once, one whispering behind the other. I took a step back. You're not her, and she shrugged like that didn't bother her at all. You remembered Jenna, she said. That was your mistake. My legs locked. What? They always forget, she continued. That's the rule. When one disappears, the rest forget. That's how the forest feeds. But you remembered, and that made everything unstable. She stepped closer. The woods behind her shifted like they were breathing. So we had to correct that. And then she blinked. When she opened her eyes again, they were black. Not just the pupils, the whole eye, like a doll soaked in ink. That's when I ran. I don't even know how I got away. I just remember trees whipping past me, branches grabbing at my sleeves, something whispering my own name from the dark. I didn't stop until I tripped and fell flat on my face. And when I looked up, I was back in the clearing. The fire was still burning, like none of it had happened. Chris was sitting there. Ashley, the real Ashley, was roasting marshmallows. Jenna was laughing. Dude, you okay? Chris called out. You look like you saw a ghost. I stared at them. My mind couldn't process what I was seeing, because they looked normal, like the first night, like before any of it started. Where have you been? Jenna asked, standing up. You've been gone forever. I tried to speak, but no sound came out. Ashley tossed me a bottle of water. We're thinking of checking out that old mine in the morning, she said. Chris wants to film inside it. The world spun. No, I croaked. We already did this. You were gone. You forgot Jenna. Chris disappeared. You weren't you. We already. They all just stared. What are you talking about, dude? Chris chuckled. You need some sleep. Jenna came over and put a hand on my shoulder. Her hand was ice cold. And then she said it. That phrase, the one I'd heard in the fog. You should have stayed by the fire. I staggered back. No, this isn't real. You're not real. Ashley tilted her head. You left the clearing, Mark. That's how it starts. Chris stood up, and it never ends. The forest around us went silent again, that same breathless stillness. The trees pulsed. The fire flickered and then, without warning, snapped like someone had cut the air in half. Darkness. Then a voice, quiet and distant, like it was coming from deep below the earth. Welcome back. The next thing I remember, I was waking up in my apartment. My bed, my room, my phone buzzing on the nightstand. It was Monday. I had texts from Jenna, Ashley, and Chris, memes, group chat nonsense, like nothing had happened, like we'd never even gone camping. I opened my gallery, no photos, no video files. My bag was empty, no tent, no boots, no dirt, no notebook. I thought I'd gone crazy. Until last night. I was watching YouTube, just random horror videos, and something autoplayed after. A video titled, Dunmore, a town that was never real. I clicked. It was a shaky, handheld shot of the same woods, same cabins, same well, but this time, the video only lasted 17 seconds. Right before it cut off, the camera turned, and there I was, standing at the edge of the trees, looking straight at it. I never filmed that video. I never remember anyone else being there, but there I was, smiling. If you're watching this, don't go looking for Dunmore. Don't trust any GPS coordinates that don't show up on the map, And for the love of God, if you ever find yourself camping somewhere off-grid and someone in your group disappears and no one else remembers them, leave immediately, because the forest will remember you, even if no one else does. Don't forget to like, comment your thoughts on this terrifying story, and subscribe for more spine-chilling horror tales.